Oh, you thought we was done with decimals? Nah. What's up, guys? It's your 4th grade math teacher, Mr. Johnson, aka Mr. J, and we're back at it again with another YouTube video. Once again, thank you guys for another successful week of remote learning. A lot of you guys have been beasting through the work, and I can tell for a lot of you it's getting a bit easier. But I know it's not the same thing as being in the classroom. I mean, it's really hard having to stop and do schoolwork when you're at home, you know, where there's video games and TV and a refrigerator. Yeah, I know, I'm ready to go back into the classroom too. But until then, the math must continue. In this lesson, we're going to be reviewing decimals, and listen. I know how you guys feel when it comes to decimals. Y'all are always like,
no, God! No, God, please, no!
But listen, I got you. So before you guys start getting scared and panicking and going all crazy, we're gonna break this down so that you guys walk out of 4th grade as decimal masters, because they'll return with a vengeance in 5th grade.
Mr. Johnson, we already learned decimals. Why are we doing this again?
Well, technically, we're going to be relating decimals to fractions and money, which is...
Mr. Johnson, I already know decimals like money. Who you telling?
Well, think of it like practice. Relating decimals is a skill that we don't want to lose.
Man, Mr. Johnson, I could be playing Fortnite right now.
Well, maybe if you spend less time on Fortnite and more time practicing, we wouldn't have to review this week.
And maybe you should practice your handwriting, cause that's what needs to be reviewed. Ah, you missed.
Anyways, let's go ahead with the lesson. So, grab a snack, get a drink, get comfortable, and let's make it do what it do. Woo! One skill that we have to master in math is relating decimals to fractions and money. We have to be comfortable converting decimals into fractions and fractions back into decimals. You see, the thing is, what if I told you decimals and fractions are the same thing? Well, they're not exactly the same, but they are actually two different ways to represent the same value. The thing is that a decimal is actually a special type of fraction. Decimal is a fraction that has a denominator that is a power of 10. And in 4th grade, we get a decimal when our denominator is a 10 or tenths, and when it is 100 or hundredths. This is why when we look at the place value of decimals, we have the tenths place and then the hundredths place. So let's take the fraction 31 hundredths. If I wanted to change it into a decimal, I must follow these steps. First, 31 hundredths is a fraction, so it is less than the number 1, which means I don't have a whole number, so a 0 will go in the ones place. I see my decimal point, and to the right of my decimal point are all numbers that are less than 1. My whole has been cut into hundreds. I have 31 out of 100, or 31 hundredths. So when I represent this fraction as a decimal, I must go to the hundredths place. Another way of looking at this is by saying that I have 3 tenths and I have 100. This ends up giving me 31 hundredths. Here are some other examples. 0 and 3 hundredths, 0 and 18 hundredths, and 0 and 74 hundredths. For fractions with a denominator of 10, it is important to know that I'm dealing with tenths, or my whole has been cut into 10 parts. If I have the fraction 2 tenths, I can think of it as saying that I only have 2 out of 10 parts, or I only have 2 tenths. So it can be represented as a decimal as 0 and 2 tenths. Here are some other examples with fractions of tenths. 0 and 1/10, 0 and 8/10, 0 and 4/10. Lastly, we must remember that when our numerator and denominator are the same, we have all of the parts or a complete whole. Therefore, anytime your numerator and denominator are the same, it is equivalent to one whole or the number 1. So 1/100 is the same or equal to 1, and 10/10 is equal to 1, because 1 is a whole number. It is represented as just the number 1 with the decimal point behind it. So now you're probably thinking, changing fractions into decimals and decimals into fractions is cool and all, but why is this so important? Well, I'll tell you, my students. Fractions and decimals are important for many reasons, but one of those reasons is because they relate to money!
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money, money, money.
Dollar, dollar. Dollar, dollar. Ching, ching, bling, bling. Cut the chatter. You ain't talking money, then your talking don't matter.
Yes, we use decimals when we are dealing with money. And there are many math problems that require you to relate money to fractions and decimals. In order to solve these types of math problems, we need to use real-life examples and make connections between the three. Well, look at that. I'm kind of getting hungry, and I need to go out and go get lunch. In fact, why don't you tag along? I think we'll be able to find one of those real-life examples while getting lunch. Let's go.
Hey, do you know what time it is? It's Chick-fil-A time!
What we do here is go back.
Out the coupe at the lot, told him 12 swat, busting all the bells out the box. I just hit a lick with the box, had to put the stick in the box. Pour up the whole field, I'ma get lazy.
Alright guys, so it came out to be $16.92, and I'm going to be paying with a $20 bill. So comment below and let me know what operation of math should I be using and how much change I should get back. Let's see if you know.
Mr. Johnson, aren't you supposed to be showing us a math problem?
Okay, so at Chick-fil-A I owed $16.92 and I paid with $20. You all should know that the operation I would need to use is... Bruh. Not add, subtract. But before we get to what my change was, let's take a deeper look into money. When we think of money, the smallest currency or coin that we have is the penny. And 1 penny is worth 1 cent. When we get 100 pennies, or when we have a value of 100 cents, we get 1 whole dollar. This is very similar to fractions and decimals. 1/100 is the same as 1 penny. And when we get 100 hundredths, it equals to 1, just like 100 pennies equals to $1. When you have 1 penny, you have 1 out of the 100 you need to get $1. So 1 cent is the same as 1/100th fraction form, as well as 0 and 1/100th decimal form. If I had 46 pennies, I have 46 out of the 100 pennies I would need to get a whole dollar. So 46 cents is the same as 46 hundredths, as well as 0 and 46 hundredths. Next, remember that decimals are fractions that have a denominator of 10 or 100, and we just related hundredths to pennies. So what about tenths? Well, when it comes to tenths, we can relate tenths to dimes. We can do this because 10 dimes has a value of 100 cents, which equals to a whole dollar. If I have 3 dimes, I have 30 cents. I would have 3 out of the 10 dimes to get my whole dollar. 3 out of 10 is 3 tenths. So, to represent 30 cents as a fraction, I would say 3 tenths. And to represent it as a decimal, I would say 0 and 3 tenths. So if decimal coins and fractions all represent values that are less than a whole number, what do I do when I have dollars and coins? Well, it's not really that complicated. Let's take, for example, $2.65. This is how a model of $2.65 would look like. You have $2 or 2 wholes, and you have 65 cents or 65 out of the 100 coins needed to get another dollar. Do know that my 65 cents can be shown as 6 dimes and 5 pennies, or just 65 pennies. Either way I show it, they are equal and show the same value. To change my money into a fraction, I would keep my whole number of 2, but change the coins into a fraction. 65 out of 100 is 65 hundredths, so the fraction will be 2 and 65 hundredths. This is called a mixed number, which is when you have a whole number and a fraction. Lastly, for the decimal, I would have a 2 in the ones place, but show my coins in the decimal place values. 6 in the tenths and 5 in the hundredths, or we can say this as 2 and 65 hundredths. Alright guys, let's go ahead and represent $3.08 as a fraction and as a decimal. So let me pull it up real quick. There we go. So we have the money that we got back from Chick-fil-A. So money. And that was $3.08. And first, I'm going to represent it as a fraction. So the thing is that when I got $3.08, I got 3 whole dollars. So I have the whole number of 3. So I'm going to write the whole number 3. But right here is where my fraction is at, the change. So we have 0 dimes and 8 pennies. Your dimes are tenths, and your pennies are hundredths. Because remember, you need 100 pennies to get a whole. So when I create my fraction has to have a denominator of 100, and I have 8 out of 100. So my fraction would be 3 and 8 hundredths. And this is a mixed number. Look at that. My handwriting is getting better and better every day, but it's still garbage though. Finally, for a decimal, I want to represent $3.08 as a decimal. It's quite simple. 3 is your whole number, so you have the whole number of 3 in the ones place, and then you have 0 in the tens place and 8 in the hundreds place. So it's 3 and 8 hundredths as a decimal. And there you go. We have our money, $3.08. We have it written as a fraction, 3 and 8 hundredths. And then we have it as a decimal, 3 and 8 hundredths. And there you go. That's me representing $3.08 in 3 different ways. Well, that about sums up this video. I hope this was a good refresher on decimals. But if you still need help, comment below, let me know, or find me on Class Dojo. We're entering week 3 of remote learning and you guys have been kicking butt, so keep up the good work. Don't stop. You guys have been doing an amazing job. Remember, don't let yourself get behind in all the work for math, and make sure you guys are attending the Zoom lessons when you get a chance. So stay safe, guys, wash your hands, and keep those math skills sharp. Until next time, guys.
Chick-fil-A time!
That's it. Go ahead and